That evening, I dug into our computer's browsing records. Searches about divorce, a hidden bank account, messages exchanged with my brother. I uncovered it all. For 6 weeks, I kept silent. I tucked my daughter into bed, prepared meals, held my wife's hand, and acted as if the life I'd spent years crafting wasn't already collapsing around me. When she finally handed me the divorce papers, my response left her lawyer visibly shaken. I once believed in forever, in a love that wouldn't wear thin. I thought we were unbreakable, strengthened by years of late-night conversations and quiet promises. But love isn't etched in marble. It's scrawled in sand, and the waves had washed it away long before I realized. It began with a subtle distance, the kind that creeps in silently, coating everything like a fine layer of dust. The way she stopped meeting my gaze when I spoke. The way my touch became something she endured rather than welcomed. Excuses, evasions. The way silence replaced the laughter that once filled our home. I told myself it was just stress, exhaustion, the natural dimming of our early passion. But then my daughter asked a question. Her voice was soft, uncertain. She fidgeted with the worn cuff of her pajama sleeve, looking up at me with those wide, perceptive eyes she got from the woman who once vowed to love me. "Daddy, why does Mommy say you're her biggest regret when you're not around?" A crack split open inside me, a heavy, sinking dread. "Who told you that?" I asked, keeping my voice even as my heart pounded. I overheard her on the phone. A pause, a whisper. "With Uncle Jake, my brother." That night as she slept beside me, her body angled away as if my presence repelled her, I checked the computer. And there it was, weeks, months of deceit. Messages with my brother that unraveled my existence piece by piece. Talk of money, plans for dividing our life. The thrill in their words, their scheming, as if I were a hurdle to be cleared. An annoyance to be swept aside. The worst wasn't the betrayal itself. It was how they spoke of me. Coldly, mockingly, as if I were a naive, outdated fragment of a life she no longer desired. She was finished. She had been finished. I just hadn't seen it. For 6 weeks, I bore the burden of my own erasure. I observed her knowing everything, the way she avoided my eyes with precision, the perfunctory peck on my cheek, devoid of warmth, the whispered phone calls she thought went unnoticed. Every moment tested my self-control. But I stayed silent. Because it wasn't just about her, it was about my daughter. About the kind of man I'd be when the foundation finally gave way. The day she handed me the papers, she seemed almost unburdened, as if she'd been waiting to exhale. We sat across from each other at the dining table, the one we'd picked out together years ago, chuckling as we debated between walnut or cherry wood. She pushed the papers toward me, her face calm, distant. "I think this is best," she said, as if commenting on the forecast. I said nothing. I skimmed the pages, reading the carefully crafted dissolution of our shared life. Then I slid my own set of documents across the table. Her brow creased as she took them. "What's this?" "Read it." She did, and I watched the blood drain from her face. Bank records, transaction logs, proof of the secret account she thought was hidden, copies of her messages with my brother. Every secret, every scheme, every betrayal, carefully compiled. Her hands shook. For the first time in months, I saw something like fear in her eyes. Then she reached the final page. My terms. I wasn't pleading for her. I wasn't groveling. I was claiming everything she assumed she'd walk away with. She had built her exit strategy on the belief that I was clueless, that I was fragile, that I'd collapse under the weight of her disloyalty and let her control the end. She was mistaken. Her lawyer, a man I pictured she'd chosen for his calculated precision, grew noticeably paler as he read my counterproposal. This, he cleared his throat, adjusting his tie. This is ruthless. No, I said, my voice steady, composed. This is just my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, stared at me. Her lips parted, grasping for words. For the first time in ages, she was speechless. I let the silence linger. Then I stood. You once called me your biggest regret, I said, my voice low but resolute. Maybe you were right, because I should have walked away the moment you made me feel like I wasn't enough. I turned, leaving her with the wreckage of her meticulously planned betrayal. And for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. My daughter once asked, "Daddy, do you still love Mommy?" I looked at her, at those innocent eyes that deserved better than the burden of grown-up failures. I love who I thought she was, I said truthfully. But sometimes loving someone means knowing when to set them free. She nodded, as if she grasped it. Maybe one day she would. As for me, I walked away with my pride whole, my daughter's love steadfast, and the certain knowledge that I had faced the storm and emerged unbroken.